This video will be on maple syrup. We have the store-bought kind, which I don't even want to list the ingredients in the back, and we have the homemade type. I am going to show you my process from start to finish on making homemade maple syrup. So please watch it to the end and catch some more important wisdom towards the end. Okay, today we're going to do something a little different. We're actually going to tap some maple trees to try to make some maple syrup. I made it once last year. I only made a couple gallons. I'm just now learning, so bear with me. If I make mistakes, let me know. But this will be a video from the start of the process to the finish. It's a couple weeks process at the least. So it's these buckets. I got about 20 of them. And if you look at them, this one is a Major Select Bavarian Cream Filling. These I got from a local donut shop. They just thrown away. I asked them to save them for me. They did with the lids. But first thing first, I have to drill holes in the two lids. That's going to be for the new buckets. And as I said, these are tight fitting. I sized the drill hole up I used last year because it was nice and tight. This one, so I am just going to drill a hole. I'm going to drill it towards the end. As I said, I just bought this kit of 5 taps last year. I bought a bigger kit this year from Amazon. It has quite a few more. This is the complete kit from Amazon, about $20. Next, I'm going to post a picture of the instructions, both front and back. So if you want to blow it up, you can. And okay, as you've seen in the garage, I pre-drilled these, and I had these. If you remember, these are from the donut place. Now all I do is this hole was small. I'm going to put it just so it barely fits through. I don't want any water to get in the top of these. I just put it through, it's barely through, and then I snap it on. And then I'll take it down to the tree and drill. I'm setting the bucket beside it, so I don't want to drill too high, so I get an idea on where I want to drill. And then you want to drill it at an angle going up. And as you can see, I'll zoom in later, but the sap's already coming out. This is a good day to do it. It probably should have been done yesterday. And I don't know whether you can see, the little line's already moving down. So that's our second tap. I've got 3 more to go. While tapping, I went ahead and I added a few more taps. So I ended up with a total of 9 taps in the trees. A couple of the trees were a little bit bigger, so I was able to add a second tap to each individual tree. So I did get more taps in than I thought I was going to, which is good. That's more sap to cook down. But all is going well. I won't show you every tap, but even walking in the woods like this, I did have to do a little bit of work to get to some of the trees. I look dangerous with a machete, don't I? 2 days later, it was time to start collecting on the sap. Now, I just dumped the sap from each tree into a bucket, and I will throw out the ice if there's a small layer in the top. Some people say to, some people do not. I haven't figured out which one works best for me yet. First day of collecting, I ended up and collected about 9 gallons. That one's cool. Now here I'm just consolidating my sap into 3 buckets of 3 gallon each. That way I can put a lid on it, and I'll make sure it's in the shade and store it there. It's cold enough where I don't have to worry about it. And then that way I can store it until I'm ready to start boiling. This is my brother-in-law who's also helping me collect. I have to give a big shout out to him. These are actually his trees, and we will be burning and finishing underneath his gazebo, which is a great big help to me. So we are going to share the maple syrup. But once again, a big shout out to them for all the assistance. This is our stainless steel pot to boil it down. You see the pot size. All this has been done mathematically, trying to find the volume, then transferring the volume into gallons. So if you're in school, keep up your math work. It does work. It took a really hot fire to boil her down, but it boiled down in about 8.5 hours. down to about 3.5 inches, which is around 20%, which is I try to get. After no more wood was put in, it did steam and let out more water content all night, and it dropped to 1.75 inches. Well, that 26-gallon of sap is now down to 2.75 gallons. It fits in my 3-gallon stainless steel pot. I'll start boiling it over my propane tank here to finish it. Need to finish it, so it's got to go down quite a ways yet. It's starting to taste some sugar, but boy, once it gets done, it'll be real sugary. Okay, you can see it's boiled down in the big pot to this smaller pot. Now we went from 16 inches down to about 1.75 inches. But as you can see, now I've got to heat it up. It needs to come down some. I can taste it. You can start to taste the sweetness in it, which is good. So I'll get it boiling and we'll measure the viscosity of it. I do have one of those units to measure with. I'll make sure you guys see it too. But I'd say we're progressing pretty fast. We use this pavilion here. I'll give you a shot at the pavilion, the fire we used to boil it down. This is a nice place. You see the buckets beside me. We have 4 more buckets of 3 gallons each all ready to go in the next pot. But we'll continue the boiling. This is not a short process. It takes time, but it's all worth it in the end. So continue watching. This is the in-laws gazebo where we've been working and burning and finishing and keeping warm. Now this is the device we'll use for the final testing. You see, you fill this up with maple syrup. Then this comes out, it's just a float. And when it floats, if it floats between the red lines, I'll try to make sure I get a close up on those red lines. Then it's at the sugar level you want it to be for syrup. Naturally, you go, if you want a little thicker, you go up a little bit more. If you want a little thinner, you go down towards the red line. As the sugar content increases, this ball will raise up. Now, I will give you the name and everything. I can't remember the name right now. I did buy this through Amazon. I can't remember the price, but I will share it all with you as we move along in this video. Yeah, it's called a maple syrup hydrometer. It's about 22 bucks on Amazon. Here's all the instructions and everything for it. I don't get overly complicated with it. I just try to use it hot, get it between the red lines right out of the boiling pan, and that's what I go with. Okay, now it starts to boil. You got to watch it, the temperature. It will overboil. As you see, I did a little bit. I didn't get it turned down quick enough. I do continue to skim off the white stuff, and that's just going to make it a little bit easier to filter. But trying to get the temperature right is why you need a controlled heat to finish it, why you can't finish it on a fire. Because, like I said, it took off real quick. It overflowed just a touch. We didn't lose that much, but, you know, you hate to make a mess, too. It looks like I got a good rolling boil right now without it overflowing. I don't know whether you can see the boil. Yes, you can. Looking at the camera itself, you can see the boil. I just don't want it to overboil. We'll let it go here at this rate for a while and see what happens. Now, while it's boiling here, I want you to pay attention to the actual boil and how the boiling looks with the rolling large boils and everything, because it will change. So continue watching and you'll actually see the change in the way the water or the sap is boiling. As you can see, it's boiled down quite a bit. I'm actually taking my first test. I know it's not going to be right yet, but I just wanted to test and start getting things, making sure they're working. With that little handle on the unit itself, I don't ever burn myself. I did put it in here, and if you notice, I'll overflow some syrup into the paper I put underneath. It kind of makes a mess. I wish it had a better line indicator to let you know where to fill it up to, but it really doesn't have one. So you just kind of go. And I did learn from my mistake here after making a mess, so you'll see how I test it later on in the video. After I'm done testing, whatever I have left, I dump back into the pot and keep on boiling. I'm not going to show you all the boiling or all the tests, but we'll get towards the end here shortly. As you can see, the level is going down into the pan, and this is where you can start to see the bubbles change in the boiling. I don't know if any of you have made like a sugar rock candy that you can make, but it's starting to boil like sugar boils with much smaller bubbles, and it is a different looking boil. So here we go, testing again. I am getting better. I wish I learned a little quicker. That way I don't always have to spill some and make a mess to begin with. But I am learning. I did put the ladle underneath it over there when I put the tube in it this time. It seems like it helps a lot. At least I contain the fluid that overflows. So at the very least, it makes my cleanup a little bit easier. And another plus, I didn't burn myself during all these testings. Well, do you want to go a little more, or is that good? It's right on the line. Let's go a little longer.
A little bit longer.
A little bit longer.
Maybe another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, that should be about it. Yeah.
So 307.
Oh yeah, it's getting sticky even. Now that we're getting close to the consistency we want, you have to be very careful in the boiling because it will burn. So we're only timing ourselves for about 5 minutes to get it down just a little bit more. Like I said, we were on top of the red line. We want to get somewhere in about the middle. Now here's another shot of the boiling here, the last little bit. As you can see, the bubbles are tight, and it does look a little different this way, but we're almost there. After 5 minutes of boiling and paying pretty close attention to it, I just went ahead and shut off the heat to it. I believe we're going to be where we're at, where we need to be, I guess I should say. Now we're going to do the final test. And we went from 26 gallons over the fire to approximately 3 gallons in the pan. And we're down to about a level of just a little bit over an inch in this pan. Oops, I forgot the ladle. That helped a lot. I should have thought of that earlier. Boy, we don't lose any of this golden stuff.
It's definitely thicker.
Sticky now too, isn't it? I think that's good enough. What do you? Yeah. I'm happy with it. It's maybe a little thinner, but it's not right in the middle, but I don't like it real thick anyhow.
Oh yeah.
I think we're good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good to go. Now we have to filter it. Last time I filtered, I used a t-shirt. It worked, but it was really kind of rough with it falling down. This year, I bought the filtering for maple syrup, and I'll put a picture on it after this. We stirred it around a bit just to try to get it to go through, but it filtered out pretty well. And we also filtered in the pot to keep it warm, and it was high enough to allow the filter system.
Sweet. It has a really good flavor.
Sure does. It's because it's maple syrup. Ooh, it does good. This is the filtering system I used. Nothing fancy, but it worked good. Now for the fun part, the actual filling of the glass jars. Now these are regular canning jars. I use canning lids. They're sterilized. And this coffee pot worked well to distribute it. It was nice and easy. And once the cans are sealed up, they will seal like a cold pack, like if you're cold packing a meat or something. So it works out well. As I continue to fill jars, you can see I'm getting about 4 pints. So I went from 26 gallon boiled over the fire to approximately 3 gallons boiled over a pot. And now it looks like I'm going to get just a little over 4 pints, or about half a gallon. Now let's take a look at the filter. It did filter out quite a bit. I don't filter a lot. This is just for home use and to give to some friends. So we don't worry too much about how clear it is or the color. Okay, a quick overview. We started out with 26 gallons, boiled it over the fire down to under 3 gallons, which we then put in the propane burner. And we boiled that down to a little over 4 pints, and then we filtered it, and then we jarred it, and now it's ready to go. Okay, I'm walking here now, and I'm going to check the pails for our next run. I finished the other run. You've seen the video, and I promised you a little bit of wisdom here, and I'm going to give it to you here while I'm walking. My father just passed away a month ago on February 4th, 2025, so if this is later on. And this This is to the younger people and to me, myself. I wish I would have known more about his life, how he lived, what he did, and some of his wisdom. And I really started thinking about him when I was doing this maple syrup, because he used to do a lot of it. I never really got a chance to learn from him. I wish I would have made more of an effort. So to all you people out there, whether you have elderly parents, your grandfathers, your grandmothers, learn how they lived. Ask them questions, because they love to answer the questions, and you'll be surprised what wisdom you might gain. So that's your tip. And now I want to thank you for viewing. I want to thank the subscribers. If you subscribed, if you haven't, I'd like you to think about it. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. And I would appreciate it. It would help the old man out. So this is the old man with the plan. I'll see you later.